Welcome to World Affairs. Today we will discuss the reasons why the Russia's ruble is depreciating, its impacts, the Russian government's solutions, and the reactions from relevant parties. In August 2023, Russia's ruble plummeted to a historic low with an exchange rate of $1 for 100 rubles. This means that 1 ruble was equivalent to 1 cent of the US dollar. In 2023, the ruble became one of the most depreciated currencies globally, alongside Argentina's peso, Venezuela's bolivar, and Turkey's lira. Russian policymakers swiftly intervened for the first time since the onset of the Ukraine conflict. The Central Bank of Russia raised interest rates by an additional 3.5%, bringing them to 12%. Subsequently, the ruble saw a slight recovery, with an exchange rate of $1 for 96 rubles. However, this was still a significant depreciation compared to August 2022, when $1 exchanged for around 60 rubles. Many experts predict that the fluctuation in the ruble not only affects Russia's economy, but also impacts Russia's war effort in Ukraine. Currencies often depreciate when investors become concerned and withdraw capital and assets from the respective country. Since the outbreak of the conflict in Ukraine, hundreds of multinational corporations have exited the Russian market. However, the ruble has not depreciated significantly due to the continued strong demand for this currency for transactions involving crude oil and natural gas with Russia. The ruble is under pressure this year due to Russia's trade being out of balance, with declining export revenues and increasing imports. Since the G7 imposed a cap of $60 on Russian crude oil in December 2022, export revenues have plummeted. In the first 7 months of 2023, income from oil compared to the same period last year has decreased by 15%. Conversely, due to the demands of the war, Russia has had to increase imports of goods. Also, in the first 7 months of this year, Russia's current account surplus has decreased by 86%, down to $25 billion. Igor Zunikov, an analyst at Bank, said limited foreign currency supply from exporters continues to exert pressure on the ruble's position. External capital sources are also facing many obstacles. Russia's export situation is challenging. Western sanctions have restricted markets, weakening many critical commodity sectors due to insufficient raw materials for production. Russia's finance ministry also announced in mid-August that the budget deficit for the first 7 months of this year had increased to $29 billion. The ruble's depreciation, while beneficial for exports to some extent, is detrimental for imports. In June 2023, when the exchange rate reached 80 to 90 rubles per US dollar, Russian Deputy Prime Minister Andrei Belousov stated that this rate was good for the country's economy. When the ruble was stable last year, the Russian government saw it as evidence that Western sanctions had failed. However, this confidence was diminished significantly. On August 14, Maxim Oreshkin, an economic advisor to President Putin, emphasized the need for ruble stability. He also pointed out shortcomings in the central bank's policies. Some experts believe that raising the central bank's interest rates only provides limited relief for the ruble. Russia is currently isolated, and foreign capital continues to exit the country, so high interest rates are unlikely to attract foreign investors. Intervening in the currency market could be another option. The Central Bank of Russia has reduced its foreign currency purchases. Previously, the central bank would buy foreign currency using rubles, especially when there was a surplus from high oil prices, to bolster its reserves. This practice was abandoned on August 9. As of August 2023, Russia had reserves of around $587 billion, which should be sufficient to support the ruble. However, approximately $300 billion of these reserves have been frozen by the West. In the near future, these funds are unlikely to be released even after the end of the Ukraine conflict. Considering the current situation, unless the Russian government can generate additional revenue from oil, it will face challenging choices. The state will have to cut spending, including for the armed forces, and businesses will have to reduce imports. Inflation is rising, coupled with high interest rates, which is expected to erode the purchasing power of the average and low-income population, making life increasingly difficult for these groups. Russian President Vladimir Putin on August 22 acknowledged that the fluctuations in the foreign exchange and financial markets were hindering both domestic and foreign investment flows. He emphasized the need to control the situation as early as possible. He also announced that Russia's economy had surpassed the size of Germany's. Importantly, Russia must maintain key industries and continually improve its science and technology base. He said, in recent days, there have been some positive signs in the Russian economy. The ruble exchange rate is fundamentally stabilizing. In the second quarter of 2023, the GDP grew by 4.9%. Industries related to mineral extraction, including oil and gas, have shown impressive growth. The industrial production index increased by 6.3%, and industrial output grew by 11.3%. It is crucial to sustain this momentum moving forward. Contrary to the optimism of the Russian government, some experts express a certain level of caution. According to Yevgeny Nadoshin, chief economist at PF Capital, the tools used by the Central Bank of Russia may not be the best solution in the short term. However, they have managed to establish a barrier preventing the ruble from depreciating further, with an exchange rate of $1 for over 100 rubles. The market is no longer overly anxious. The ruble has rebounded, but not as strongly as anticipated. Currently, one USD exchanges for between 93 to 95 rubles. Increasing interest rates is only a temporary solution, as it doesn't address the root causes of the ruble's depreciation. I believe the central bank may soon intervene more deeply, such as by releasing foreign reserves to boost the ruble's value. The amount spent not exceed $10 billion. The central bank currently holds a relatively large amount of gold and Chinese yuan reserves. From now until the end of the year, unless an unfavorable scenario unfolds, with $1 exceeding 100 rubles, inflation reaching 2 digits, and trade imbalances persisting, deeper intervention is highly likely. Ian Malkumov, economic expert in Russia, said many companies have planned to increase the prices of goods by 10 to 15% in September. They have already notified retailers about this. I believe that in the next 1 to 2 months, inflation will be higher than it is now. When the authorities claim they have managed to contain inflation from 4.5 to 5%, I don't think they have really made serious efforts. If inflation exceeds double digits, it will have a significant impact on the people. As for themselves, many Russian citizens have had mixed reactions to the volatile ruble situation and the negative economic information. Here are some opinions. Of course, we are not happy with the current situation. Everything is becoming more expensive. I hope that salaries will also increase along with the USD exchange rate. Prices are affecting everything, but ultimately, I think we can adapt to it. This is not the first time such issues have arisen. Despite the difficulties, I believe that in a few days, the ruble will bounce back. The government is tightening its control over everything. We can't do much in this situation. I don't understand what officials are thinking. I also don't know what state financial corporations will come up with as a solution. While I know something is not right, I'm not rushing to buy or sell the foreign currency I currently have. I wish to live in a society where the exchange rate is stable and not floating like it is now, like in the former Soviet Union. I think everyone is struggling, but eventually we will overcome everything. This is our situation and our country. The exchange rate does not depend so much on external factors, but on the internal ones. Therefore, the exchange rate is reflecting the state of the Russian economy. Everything will eventually stabilize. I think things will continue to worsen. The USD always goes up when commodity prices rise. Everyone wants to own USD as a safe asset. Of course, the current situation is affecting all of us. Many things affect exchange rate, domestic buying and selling, production, trade sanctions, and the overall global economic situation. Prices are rising, but wages are not increasing, so our money is being withdrawn from our wallets very quickly. The Russian economy has fundamentally coped well with the difficult situation in 2022. However, in this year, the fluctuations in revenue due to the cap on oil prices, along with some other factors, are having a negative impact on society. Russia's domestic currency is depreciating, and inflation shows signs of increasing significantly. Nevertheless, Russian policymakers have quickly found solutions, such as raising interest rates. Russia's GDP in the second quarter has shown positive growth. In any case, Russia is a large country with abundant resources, especially in metals and minerals. Therefore, many industries like metallurgy, mining, and mechanical engineering continue to grow and serve as pillars for the entire economy. The question now is, if this situation continues, how long can the Russian economy withstand it? Perhaps only time will tell. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.